Lego builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios. Hopefully everything works. I feel like every time I do a stream, something weird happens with the various things, but I think everything looks like it should be good. Let me know if you guys can hear me. What's up, Lego builders? Welcome back. How's everybody doing? Okay, so let me get this out of my face a little bit. That should work. Let me pull up the chat. Oh, there it is. I'm doing good, thank you. Welcome to the stream. Once I pull up this chat, I can officially welcome everyone aboard. We can get building here because I got a lot to do. Okay. Wow. My internet is slow today. Welcome to the stream. Who do we have today? Looks like we've got Terry Y2P. Welcome. Stormtrooper Creations. BKEJ something something something. Astral Architect. Welcome. Clayton HK9. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Ollie Type Twice. Landon Bagley. Strider Films. Noah G2. Debbie Flatty. Welcome. Levi Sloan. Lego Giga Chad. Rivals. So many people in the chat. Boulder Mountain Bricks in the house. How you doing, my friend? Welcome. Gunner M7. Let's see, did I miss anybody else? Tim B68. Welcome. Happy Easter, everyone. First live stream. Can't stay for all of it, but I love your content. Thank you, Clayton. Welcome to the stream. Happy Easter, everyone. I hope you all have a great, beautiful day. Oh, I hate it when my internet's giving me problems. There we go. There we go. All right, so what's happening today? So you guys can see, got a decent amount of pieces, a hodgepodge of pieces here because I've got a final cube. You guys may recognize these cubes. They are what I use to build this. So this one is approximately 3 stories right now, as same height as the other one, but I wanted one to be taller than the other. And this one being owned by the Diodes, I wanted it to be a little more impressive, have a little bit more like, I don't know, a little bit more grandeur, I guess you could call it. Keep it in camera. But I'm not sure where to put it. Let me go right here. No, that's just going to be blocking me. Dang it, I'm going to have to put it over here. I'm new to your channel, Coconut. Welcome, Gunner. I hope you enjoy the content. And I hope you enjoy the stream. We usually have a pretty good time here. So that's what's going down. So I got to build a bunch of these little pods in different colors. I have just, it's so frustrating. At this point, I've built a lot of pods. So I have like a lot of random pieces. So I'm hoping I can piece together 4 pods on this stream. If I can do that, we're going to call it a win. How does that sound? I'm doing good. DK, how you doing? Also, if you haven't yet, make sure to open fire on that like button. Hey, Coconut, I've been reading a book on World War I armored cars, and some of them are wacky, to say the least. Could be cool for the sci-fi army. Yeah, World War I, when it comes to vehicles, World War I has got some wacky stuff, because that's kind of the first Great War, right? The war to end all wars. Was kind of like, how do I say it? Like the launch pad for modern warfare, right? Tanks made their debut. Armored cars, you could say, made their debut. Air warplanes, like so many things, the machine gun, like obviously these things were invented before, but like this is when people figured out how to use all this stuff during a great war, a massive war. So yeah, there were a lot of weird stuff, and then I feel like World War II, it kind of got a lot of it got fixed and hammered out to some pretty iconic weaponry. Have you been my friend? Long time no see. I know it's been a while, man. What have you been up to? Hopefully not too busy with work. Hopefully they're giving you some time to work on the channel and stuff. I'm doing pretty good though, just trying to get the city done. So I'm sure people ask, but this week there's going to be no video. I'm doing this live stream instead because I am trying to finish the Lego City this week. So I want Millennia Prime to be done by the end of the week. I just feel like it's time. I got to get this project finished. And so I just wanted to dedicate a full week to just working on that because when I'm producing a video as well, it can be hard to get a lot of progress done because really I only have like 2 to 3 days to actually build. Then the rest of the update or the week needs to be like editing, more filming, and stuff like that. So I just wanted a full week that I could just sit and build. And it was very productive. All right, so this one, I'm trying to remember how big I wanted to make these. Yeah. Okay, so this big. I think that was too big, yeah. Could you make a Titan class mech that looks like a Warhammer 40K Warlord Titan? Probably not, just because I'm not the hugest fan of a Warlord Titan, but I do want to make big Titans. Or sorry, big mechs. So I mean I will take inspiration from the Imperial mechs. I think the what is it, the Psi Titan? The I think that's what it's called. The one that has like does like the psychological weaponry. That one's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind building something based off that. It's got a really cool face. Hasn't been too bad lately, thank goodness. Had my second son last week, so I've been busy. Dude, congratulations. That's so cool. Wow. That is awesome. Huge shout out to Boulder Mountain Bricks. That's so cool. Hi Coconut, I'm building an LRAC in Minecraft. Ooh. That sounds like a fun challenge. I can't wait to build the tank carrier variant of the LRAC. So excited for that. It's going to be so cool. Just an LRAC bombing in with a tank behind it, on it. What's your favorite vehicle you've personally designed? Probably the Cuspis 2. Just because you guys know I'm such a fan of tanks. And so to finally have like a classic human main battle tank that's my design, I'm really proud of. So I might have to go with that. And then maybe the LRAC second. I like the mechs. Don't get me wrong, I like mechs, but I definitely prefer like tanks and dropships to mechs. I find them more fascinating. I feel old now. You feel old now. Tell me about it, man. I turned 30 this year. Talk about old. Old man coconut over here. Are we getting a long form vid of all the lore and fighting? Of course. I gotta bring everyone up to speed. Of course. That will be coming this month as well. This month is like the month of finishing Millennia Prime. That's my goal. So you guys are gonna get a conclusion to chapter 1. Chapter 1 is the Millennia Prime arc. And then there's chapter 2, and then we will be concluding it with a chapter 3. So I've got 3 big arcs or 3 big chapters, whatever you want to call them, planned for my custom world of Viteris. I turned 20 this year. Dang. That's a big birthday right there. Officially entering the 20s. How do you feel about that? What microwave do you own? Not a good one. I can tell you that. Tell you that right now. Kind of garbage. But I mean, it gets the job done. It's just very weak. Oh, dang it. I should have thought those. Some of these I am going to build to be broken, which I kind of wish I hadn't done that, to be honest. What if you made a mech that separates into a bunch of drones, like a transformer type thing? It'd be interesting. What is the next Star Wars mock plan? I don't have one as of right now. Just whatever future Star Wars project gets me excited about. That's kind of the extent of my plans in that regard right now. Take it as it comes, I guess. You should make a modified LRAC that carries armadillos and tanks. That's what I just said. Maybe you weren't here for it, sorry. But yeah, I was actually just talking about how I'm going to be building an LRAC that is designed for carrying vehicles and mechs. So that's kind of like my next big plan for the HAEF. They're going to get some serious upgrades soon. If you were given the option, would you give a company the rights to make a TV show of Viteris? I was actually thinking about that the other day. Um, I mean, potentially, as long as, well, probably, yeah, probably as long as I got like the hard thing is like I'm not a screenwriter in any way, but like I would want to have like a lot of creative control over that. I would not want them to take my thing and then just kind of do their own thing with it. That's what happens quite a bit in Hollywood. So I would definitely need to be very involved with it, but I'm also not very good at that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm wondering if maybe I would wait until I've got a better handle on that type of stuff. But yeah, potentially down the road. I think you should write a book on all this lore. I definitely read. Yes, I would love to write a book. I actually started one. I started a book about the war in Millennia Prime, but um, turns out it's very hard to write a book and build a world and build mocks and make videos. I was a little bit out of my element there, so I would like to definitely pick that project up again someday. I'm thinking about calling the book Pendulum, just because I feel like that's kind of how this series has been, right? A pendulum swinging back between HADF is on top, the Protectorates are on top, and then swings back and forth. Pendulum of War. What faction are you rooting for? It's kind of hard to say because like I love them all for different reasons. You know what I mean? One thing I really wanted to try and do with this series was not make it good guy versus bad guy, because personally I find that a little boring. Like, obviously there are teams here that are easier to root for than others. Like, it's kind of hard to root for the Protectorate, but like at the same time, the Protectorate are also just fighting for survival, right? They're just trying to stay alive. They're just trying to keep their race from going extinct. It's like, can you really blame them? Like, that's what we're doing as humans. And so the HADF is fighting them, but obviously the HADF themselves are no angels. I mean, especially when you guys are about to get some major lore updates that might change your view of the HADF. They've been uh they've been getting up to some shenanigans. But I think probably the HADF is my favorite just because I like their tech. I like their vehicles the best, and their soldiers are pretty cool. Try making a bulky three-legged mech. Three legs might be kind of tough. I don't know where I'd put the third leg. I feel like maybe two or four legs. I'm getting Lego Star Wars The Old Republic Sith Battle Pack. Ooh, that's a good one. Maybe you could make a hazmat HADF unit. I mean, technically I do have one, but they are for the HAEF. But sometimes they do come over. Sometimes, like, I don't know if you guys, they're basically the scientists. You know, the little like jungle scientists. They've got hazmat suits. So they sometimes show up in Millennium Prime. There aren't a lot of chemical warfare stuff. That was kind of, I don't want to say it was banned after the Biowars, but after what humanity did to pretty much the entire ground, they were like, all right, let's cool it with the chemical weaponry. Let's take a break from this. Kind of like how the Imperium of Man and Warhammer 40K ain't exactly the good guys. Exactly, and I've actually taken a lot of inspiration from Warhammer 40K because I think they do a really good job of making Not all, but a lot of the factions like somewhat understandable or at least relatable because um there's good and bad, right? Nobody is a perfectly good society, and I didn't want to write any perfectly good societies. I wanted to make, especially when you guys learn the full lore behind behind the Protectorate, the Quadranids, and why they're doing what they're doing. I wanted to make them a little bit more understandable. Same with the HADF, and then there's a new faction that's going to be introduced. I'm assuming you guys have picked up on the fact that there's a dark tan and lime green faction that's just ready and waiting to burst onto the scene. So they are going to have some interesting lore of their own. And then there is, of course, I will be doing some more like insidious, some more sinister factions coming up in the future. Are you planning for the HADF to have something like a battleship? No. There's really no point for them to go in the water because it's full of violent bio nightmare remnants that were used for like fishing and underwater mining. And the other continents they lost contact with years and years ago, like decades ago at this point, and I haven't heard anything since. So there's a good chance that like the survivors on Moenia Prime on Kokundra are the only ones left on the planet. And so at this point they're just trying to like rebuild society on Kokundra. Maybe at some point they'll try venturing across the oceans again to see what happened, what the state is of the other continents and like societies. But for now, there's just no, especially now that the protectorates are here and there's another faction that they've been battling. They've got they're busy. We could say. What if you made an ICBM site underneath the city like Helldivers? That would be cool. Boulder Mountain Bricks. Shout out Boulder Mountain with the 499 dono. I got a jet, my friend. I'm glad you to have stopped by. Keep doing your thing. Love the content. Thanks so much, man. And congrats again on having another son. That is so cool. That's awesome, man. I wish you and your family all the best. Also, because of the chemical biowar, is there a group of altered humans or chemically altered subterranean people who live underground? Not underground, because underground is essentially where the bio nightmares themselves live. Like there were a lot of underground hives. But that being said, I'll give you guys, since you guys are out here supporting the stream, supporting the channel on a live, I'll give you a little tidbit. So, humanity, the HADF, no surprise here, but they were kind of lying a little bit when they said all of humanity retreated behind the city walls of the megacities. No surprise there. What? Utilitarian government lied? Not everybody not everybody agreed to be in the HADF. You know, according to HADF history books, it's we all banded together and fought off the biowars, which is true to an extent. However, we does not encompass excuse me, we does not encompass everybody who lived on the continent, if you get my drift. I don't want to give away too much because I want you guys, I want to give you guys a real sweet reveal, but let's just say Kokundra is a little bit busier than just the mega cities. Yo, Dubsy Bricks in the house. How you doing, man? I'm doing pretty good. I'm just working on some city pods. I'm trying to build one more of these. For my apartment building for the city. How you doing, man? What you been up to? Have you seen the Warhammer 40k Tau Storm Sarge? Maybe you could build something like that. I haven't. I'm actually not super familiar with the Tau. They were one of my favorite factions when I was growing up, but I kind of lost interest in them, to be honest. So in short, hey, a man has been found living outside of a Lego mega city. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's one way to put it. It's been so much fun building this world though and building the lore behind it. I've had an absolute blast. And I'm really, really pleased and really grateful with how well you guys have received everything. Like I've been blown away, honestly. I was not expecting this content to do this well. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for that. And then, another fun thing coming up. I'm going to be building a micro scale map like relief map of the continent of Kokundra. So pretty soon you guys are actually going to get to see what Kokundra looks like, where the cities are, how many cities are there, where are they in relation to each other, what else is out there. I'm really planning on like going outside of Moenia Prime over these coming months because I felt like Moenia Prime was a good place to start without like, without like just dumping way too much lore on everyone that they couldn't keep everything straight because I'm just like constantly lore dumping. I didn't want to do that. So I figured let me just, take things slow. And now that I've built some momentum, built some steam, now we're really gonna take off and learn some things. I'm excited. Vader's basement. We've got a Vader's basement sighting. How you doing, man? It's good to see you. Happy Easter to you. Hope it's a good one. How you doing today? I'm just lore dumping on all these people. See you later, Terry Y2P. Thank you for joining. Have a happy Easter. Are you planning on giving the HADF something like a Humvee? Not counting the armadillo? I mean, that's what the armadillo is. It's their Humvee. I mean, they also have the Wolverine. Well, the HAEF have the Wolverine, but there's obviously sharing. Sharing is caring, as we all learn from our mothers. So, um, they'll swap vehicles and stuff. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I create more conflict between the HAEF and the HADF? Like have some kind of friction there, or should I really have them just kind of be working together and chill? Based on what's coming, though, they might not have time to bicker and fight because they're gonna be busy. Are there any where was that? Are there any interesting Arctic regions on Kokundra? I guess you'll have to stay tuned. Find out what exactly Kokundra looks like. Whoops. Currently making Psalm 3. Like from World War One. How does the government and chain of command work for the humans? The HADF is in charge. They are at the capital, and they're kind of like a military government that runs everything. And then you have individual governments that run the different megacities, but then report to the capital. I'm trying to make this one look battle damaged. So it looks like a chunk got taken out by, I don't know, a passing mech, a wayward RPG, who knows. We're having a great day so far. Even better now that there's a coconut stream. Yeah. Did you guys do any kind of like Easter egg hunts this morning for the kids or anything? I haven't done an Easter egg hunt in years. What if there's a third faction or fourth if you count gangs in the city? Well, I don't count gangs as factions because they're like a sub faction, like within a larger faction. As of right now, there are two factions with a teased third faction. So right now there's two big ones, right? The Quadranids and the humans. Oh, well, technically there's the Bio Nightmares. I forgot about the Bio Nightmares. So there's technically three right now, with a fourth one that's being teased to be introduced soon. Can you make a video where the HADF or HAEF sends some Space Marines or something to the Quadrant's home planet? So I've been thinking about that a lot. Like eventually I would like humanity to leave Hofera, which is the planet that they're on. But that's going to be a ways away because they haven't really developed interstellar space travel. And that's kind of why I wanted to introduce the Quadranids to this storyline because they've obviously mastered that and they have specific ways of traveling. So it's actually going to be from them that humanity realizes like, okay, first off, we're not alone in the galaxy, so we gotta step up our game there. We gotta start some kind of space program. We gotta start figuring this out. So eventually I would like them to leave and go to other planets. However, if you guys remember, when I did the lore video on the Quadranids, they got chased off their planet. So they might not even have a planet anymore. What if the protectorates start crossing the sea if they could make water mechs? Well, they'd probably use boats. Military dictatorship. I don't know that I'd say dictatorship because for the most part, the mega cities kind of run themselves. It's more so like um it's very symbiotic because here's the thing. Humanity was at war with humanity was at war with someone else. And so it wasn't like may the best dictator win. One of the good things about the Biowars was it really brought humanity together as a group, as a people. So this was kind of a big test for them on the resiliency of the human spirit and banding together. So that's actually one plus from the BioWar is it didn't produce any dictators. It didn't produce any violent, selfish leaders to an extent. It just produced hardened, tough humans. And so like the HADF, their goal isn't tyranny. Their goal isn't oppression here. Their goal is the survival of the human race. And so they let a lot of the megacities run themselves. Like a lot of megacities have their own militias. The problem comes when they're not paying dues, when they're not supporting the greater empire, if that makes sense. Kind of similar to Warhammer 40K, where it's like the planets are allowed to rule themselves, but as soon as those tithes stop coming in, then you have problems. Or like in this case, obviously the HADF sent in troops to help free Millennia Prime. Yeah, city state type thing where like yes, they're under the rule of the HADF, but the HADF it's not like the Hunger Games where like the capital is like cracking that whip on the districts, you know what I mean? The districts themselves are kind of self-sufficient in some ways or not self-sufficient, but like what's the word? Kept left alone. This will make more sense when I show you guys the map, but it's really hard to travel from one place to the other. And so having a strong controlling presence is rather difficult because some of these cities are hard to get to and hard to get to in large numbers. So it doesn't really make sense for the HADF to waste all these resources patrolling the whole continent, if that makes sense. Especially because they have fighting. They don't let the cities see it. As far as the cities go, the Biowars were won. Everything's good. We're waiting for the Earth to heal itself, so we can, or not the Earth, sorry. We're waiting for the planet to heal itself so we can move back out. But they know what's really going on. Sure did, but the kids just did the Easter egg hunting on Thursday. Oh, okay. They're still sugared up. Nice. Yeah, I remember when we'd do Easter egg hunts growing up, we would always trade after. Like you'd put your stuff down in a pile because sometimes people would put like the sticky hands in there, money, or other things, and we'd trade trying to get what we wanted from other people. It must be nice to be able to use whatever colors you want in a mock. It's very nice, Dubsy, but it's also very difficult because as a fellow Star Wars builder, Vader's basement, and you other Star Wars builders will get this, you don't have a lot of this sitting around. There's not a lot of this bright yellow in your collection. And so it's been nice, but it's also been very frustrating because I feel like I have to order in everything. Unless it's gray, then I have it. See you in a bit, Stormtrooper. Welcome back, Terry. How you doing? So the megacities are pretty much self-sufficient, but they have a centralized military. I wouldn't say self-sufficient. I misspoke when I said self-sufficient. They're just hard to get to because they all rely on each other for goods, and they're not allowed to have a full-blown military. They're just more of like a defense force type thing, a small defense force. Like there's limitations on how many troops they can have, what types of vehicles they can have, stuff like that. So that is monitored because they don't want any cities getting a little too powerful, but they also set it up in a way where the cities need each other. Like Moenia Prime's got the tech, but Millennia Prime doesn't have the food. They don't have the water. They don't have certain other forms of technology. And this was specifically built in a way for the cities to need to all work together. Because then the other cities could, yeah, they could rebel and revolt, but they're missing other things, if that makes sense. It'll make more sense later as I explain more, but that's kind of the gist of it. Why are most of my build? Oh, this is why most of my builds have been gray, white, and blue. Yeah, exactly. I usually make my own sci-fi world on paper. Yeah, I try to write mine out as well. Just helps me keep track of everything, not mess up, not misspeak, whatever. I need to pull out some glass pieces here for the window, for the door. What's up, Manuka? Manuka, I'm just gonna call you Manuka R. Welcome to the stream. Will you be creating a playlist for all the lore soon? There is a playlist already. It's called the Sci-Fi City. Sci-Fi City Project, I think, has all of the lore concerning Millennia Prime. Yeah, semi-autonomous. Like they're allowed to rule themselves for the most part, but like there's still an overall. They're still part of a greater thing. Also, keep in mind, like, what's the point of rebelling if like what are you rebelling for? You know what I mean? Like the HADF aren't out there like you got to give us everything you're making. Like the HADF's goal is to create a thriving human society again, and so it's like, yeah, you could rebel and do what? Be cut off from the rest of humanity? That's not really a win. You know what I mean? So it's not really in any of the best interest of the cities to rebel, which was done by design. All right, let's get some windows on this bad boy. Let's get windowed up. And I can attach this one. And I should only need one more. Thanks. I build my own power armor. They're okay. I didn't have some of the pieces in the right color. Oh, I hate it when that happens. I've had that where I'm trying to build something and I don't have the pieces in the right color. So frustrating. Made it to the live stream. What's up, Daryl? Welcome. We're talking all things Millennia Prime, Tundra, Opera, the greater universe of Vateris, all that good stuff. Question: Are the HADF lying about other continents and countries? Um, no. What do you mean lying? Like they don't know what's going on over there. Like nobody knows what's going on over there because communications were cut off and they haven't been able to travel. So nobody really knows what's going on over there. It could be humanity has reestablished themselves but hasn't opened up communications. It could be like the bio nightmares over there created something that's blocking communications. Nobody knows what's going on. Do you have a DC setup? You mean like superheroes DC? What would happen if the bio nightmares come back and attack the HADF during a patrol? The HADF or the HAF would have to fight them. I don't know. It's pretty simple. They just fight them. Got to go. Catch you later. See you later, Dubsy. Good luck with all the projects. Making me tired just thinking about all that stuff you're building. But have a good day, man. It was good to see you. Could you ever make a mech with a railgun on its shoulder? Actually, I did do that. The MC is it the 40 MC 45? It's the Archer mech, the one with two legs, and then it's got a third leg to help stabilize it that folds down. So that one's got a railgun. It's on its shoulder area next to the head. There we go. Look at that big old chunk knocked out of this one. And then I'm going to have some pieces down below it, like sprinkled around on the ground. Which trooper is the most deadliest in the HAEF and HADF? As of right now, probably the power, like the super soldier type dudes, the golems. I mean, they can pack a pretty serious punch. I don't know if you guys saw the video from 2 weeks ago, last week. I can't even remember. Yeah, last week they helped bring down a heavy class mech in the power district, which was no small feat. So those guys are pretty intense, but they're still learning, still trying to figure out those powers. Not powers, but like the suits. My bad, I didn't know. No worries. It's all good. I mean, even if you weren't new, it's so hard to keep track of all the mechs I build. Like, even I have a hard time keeping track of everything. Yeah, my last video, thanks. Man, this is the stuff I want to build but don't have near enough pieces. Just start small. That's all you got to do. That's what I would recommend the most. Like, just get something for some small builds and then just slowly go from there. Because I get the feeling, like just feeling so overwhelmed, but starting small really helps take a lot of that pressure off, especially if you can find a project that's small that you're really excited about. Um, Gingerbread. I like the name. How did you come up with that name? Gotta go. Thanks for the awesome building. Love your content. See you later, Clayton 8. Thanks for joining and interacting. Catch you next time. Hi, it's my first time on the stream. Dragon Boy, welcome to your first live stream. All right, I gotta go get my bin of. Actually, let me check something. Yeah, I gotta go get my bin of light blue spray plate. All right, sound not a bad idea. Especially like I don't know if you use Bricklink at all, but if you start with like just a really small, like I don't know, $40 Bricklink order, you can get a decent amount of parts for like a small vehicle. Or another thing I would recommend, something that's helped me, like if you feel like you're not ready to start building a certain type of thing, just go into Rebrickable and buy someone's instructions, download some free instructions, get the parts list, and just start building that. And that will help you just understand, excuse me, that'll help you just understand how certain types of builds come together, what techniques people use, how a vehicle is structured, how a mech structured, airplane, whatever it is. There's so many good builders on Rebrickable. So that's another thing that could potentially help. As you guys know, I've highlighted quite a few Rebrickable builds that I've used to kind of help me get the hang of building vehicles. I realized I need to build part of this railway or rail to be broken, since there's going to be a chunk missing like that. That looks pretty good. Yeah. Nice. Gotta go. I'm on low battery. I'll be back. All right. See you in a little bit. Strider Films. We'll be here. Do you have a mech with a flamethrower? I do. The HAEF Gorilla. It's got a flamethrower on one arm. Will you be dropping more lore on the aliens? Definitely. Yeah, the aliens. Well, the quadranids, I assume. That's what you're talking about. Yeah, they'll have some lore for sure. If they survive Moenia Prime, that is. If they get bombed out of existence, then probably not. All right, what do you guys think? Here we go. The finished pod is going in place. Looking a little worse for wear, don't you think? Salutations de la France. Welcome from France. Michael. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining all the way from France. How you doing today? What are you up to? Would you please make a mech with a drill to dig under enemies or any combat weapon? A drill, huh? I don't know. Maybe. If I can come up with a design for that. I need. I want this one to just have a wrecked and destroyed roof. Kind of like that, like caved in. 10 out of 10 would Airbnb there. Moenia Prime, the new Airbnb spot. It's the place to be. You know, the city may be under attack by mind controlling aliens, but still a good place to hang out. How do you remember every name for every mock? Well, first off, I don't. I forget a lot. But I think just being immersed in this world because I've created, I think about this all day. Like I'm just constantly thinking about this world, building on it. I write everything down, or I try to write everything down, so that helps. So I have like a giant document that is literally just packed full of spoilers. Like if someone got a hold of that, that would be like the coconut leak of the century because that's literally I have all of this current storyline planned. I've got a lot of the next storyline planned, the one after that, secret factions, ideas for things. So that helps me keep track of a lot of it too. If I'm unsure of something, I'll go reference my master document, if you will. See, like, make sure my lore is lining up because that's one thing I do try to respect and keep track of is like continuity. Better and cheaper than most New York apartments nowadays. Probably with the outbreak of the war. I bet you could get some sweet. I bet you could get a sweet little apartment overlooking the wreckage of Lantern Industries headquarters. Is there a melee unit in the either HADF or HAEF? Melee unit. No, I don't really do a lot of melee units for some reason. I don't know why. There is a melee type unit, but he's part of a secret faction, so I can't talk about him yet. But this particular faction lives in a place that requires a whole lot of melee capability. So they need their melee over where they're at. I think I'm gonna have this second one just be completely busted like that, and then I'll just like pile a bunch of green pieces on the inside, which means we only have one side left. All right. This one is gonna be blue. I think this one was like dark blue, dark. I don't remember what the trend is called. It's a weird color though, but I kind of like it. All right, what are you guys saying? Couldn't files? Oh my gosh, no, no. Um, how do you make the mix of my questions? How do you do that? What does that mean? How do you make the mix of my questions? Sorry, I don't under. What do you? I'm sorry, I'm not understanding what you're asking there. Can you make a spider mech with 4 legs and dual guns with a 2 seat? I kind of have. I've got like the Hydra is similar to that, but it's got 6 legs and 2 missile launchers. But yeah, I would like to do something like that. I really need to figure out a new batch of mech designs now that I'm moving on, moving to some new factions and terrains. Fix bayonets for melee. Wow, that was weird. Yeah, I do need to make more melee stuff. It's a weakness of mine. I'll admit it. I don't really like melee stuff. That's why I like ranged weapons. I like ranged attacks, and so melee has just never really been my thing. But I do recognize its importance. Where? How did you make a Lego machine? What? What are these questions? What Lego machine? What are you talking about? Military base when? Sometime I do. I mean, I want to make a military base. I just don't know. I would like to do one for the HAEF because the HADF, their military bases are at the capital. Some of them. There are others, but I definitely want to make an HAEF military base, then have it get absolutely wrecked. Welcome back, Stormtrooper. To be honest, melee isn't too effective. Well, the problem with melee is like if your enemy's got really good range and you have really good melee, you're just not going to be able to make it over to your enemy to show them how good your melee is. That's kind of my philosophy. Like, oh, your melee's good. Too bad you'll never get close enough to me to use it. It's like I saw this meme one time for the Tau in Warhammer 40K. The Tau are like a notoriously weak melee faction, but like they've got epic ranged weapons. And like it was like, yeah, we suck at melee. Too bad you'll never get there to show us, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was essentially like, yeah, we are bad at that, but like, what are you gonna do about it? Go to Necrons. I never struck. Wow, the Necrons never struck me as like big melee guys. I didn't realize that. I just always saw them as like Egyptian Terminators, Egyptian based. That doesn't look very good. Let me do this. Wonder what happened to Millennia Prime's police. They're there. They just got wrecked before the HADF could show up, and so they're just honestly trying. Because here's the thing: like Millennia Prime is so big that the current battle, like the current battleground between the HADF and the Protectorates, only encompasses about half the city. So like, there's an entire half of the city that's not actively in a war zone. And so obviously people are rioting. There's issues over there that need to be dealt with. So they've kind of got their hands full in other sectors. But yeah, they got wrecked when the protectorates first showed up. So they're kind of regrouping, trying to recover from that. Or a big mech with two machine guns on the shoulders. I mean, there's so many different mech designs I could go with. Sometimes it's overwhelming. Hey, $2 dono from Vader's Basement. Happy Easter. Also, Imperium all the way. The Imperium of Man. Thank you for the dono, man. That's, I mean, I always say this, but that's too kind. Thank you. I just want to. Dang it. I do like the Imperium for all their faults and for all their horrible Inquisitors. I've got a soft spot for humanity. Will we be making any more World War II when Battle of the Bulge is finished? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got lots of tanks still. I've got lots of minifigs. I think kind of the main thing right now is like what's next for Coconut's Kingdom. If you guys are interested, I just released another episode of my Battle of the Bulge build series over on Coconut's Kingdom, my second channel. So if you're sad that I didn't upload anything on the main channel today, you could always go check that out. How does this one look? I should probably adjust the bottom part too. Match. It's a problem if you do the top, you got to do the bottom. Where did our tunes go? There we go. Do you have Warhammer minis? And if so, can you show us? Sadly, no. I was foolish. And when I fell out of Warhammer for a number of years, and when I did, I got rid of my army. I had an army of Dark Angels. So sad that I got rid of them. I was actually really proud of the Deathwing Terminators too. The paint job looked really good. I just wasn't thinking. Didn't think I'd need them. I'm happy. Today's the best. Why is today the best? That's good. I'm glad to hear you're happy. It's always good when we're feeling good and having a good day. Nothing beats it. There we go. That looks much better. Oh yeah, this one's damaged, all right. Wish I had one of those blue ones. See you later, Space Ninja. Thank you for joining. Will you make multiple? Will you make multiple of each mech or tank for the final mock in the end? No, just because I don't have room. Like, you know what I mean? The city's only so big. I would love to cram it full of like mechs and tanks and stuff, but there just isn't enough space, sadly. Haven't caught a stream since Coruscant. Yo, YOLO Xenophone. Welcome. Glad you could make it after all these years. What you been up to? Oh, this one needs a little balcony too. Because I have you. Oh, you're too kind. Too kind. This day is the best because of my amazing community. You guys have carried me through some dark times. Let me just say that. I don't know where I'd be without this community. Are you ever gonna make a stop motion for the HADF? I would like to. I just don't really do stop motion. I do like little ones just for fun on the Coconuts Kingdom channel. But like it's so time consuming. I'm just not very good at it. And I can't what's the word? I can't invest the time needed to get good, unfortunately, right now. Maybe someday. Been building a Reaper mech from Titanfall. That sounds fun. We love our mech builds around here. Happy Easter to you, Code Trooper. Will you build something like an LRAC with a railgun and more armor for the HADF? No, probably not. The LRAC is mostly a dropship at this point. It's not really a gunship. It does have armaments, but nothing too crazy. There we go. That's not too bad. Got some real damaged looking pods here. I've started a Tau army and really gotten into Warhammer because of you. Oh, really? Because of me? Just because of like all the Warhammer jokes I make and stuff? The Tau. That's awesome. I know some people really hate on the Tau, but I think they're a great army. I think they're a really cool looking army too. Good on you. Good on you for picking Tau. I don't know if you've considered niche, but you are one of my favorite niche Lego creators. Thank you. I would consider myself to be fairly niche. I don't think there's a lot of people out there building their own custom like Lego world. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'd say it's pretty niche content. Tank. Group chats are blown up. What speed do you build at off camera? It depends on what I'm building. If I'm building for work, I call it, like videos, I build pretty fast. But like, if I'm building for fun, I like to really just build slow and just enjoy the process. Like, I love to build Lego. Building Lego is quite literally therapeutic. And so I like to take my time and enjoy it. And I will go purposely slower than I need to just to really enjoy what it is I'm building. So it kind of just depends on the situation. I tend to build really fast though, just to get what I need done. Yeah. Feels like I'm always behind on something, so you should build pretty fast. Or if like I'm really excited about something, I'll build fast, like when I'm designing a tank or a mech. Will you be showing some chairs or something in the broken ones? Probably not, just because of how small they are. Like, if you look, it's really only the edges that are broken, like this. And there aren't really rooms for chairs, so maybe I'll have some people out there, but like it'll mostly just be rubble. Trying to finish up this green one. I want it to look like it just got absolutely obliterated. Maybe like a mech smashed into it. I do want to have one of my buildings have like a broken mech or a damaged mech like buried in the side, you know what I mean? Oh, what if I did this? What if I took one of those protectorate drones and had it smashed into the pod? What do you guys think of that? Me and my friend just finished a giant D-Day mock. That sounds like a lot of fun. That sounds nothing like building a giant D-Day mock with your friend. That's awesome. If you get new Warhammer 40k videos, you could make it a video. Yeah, I definitely could. I'd probably just get more Dark Angels because them's my boys. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of throwing a drone in there. Are you planning any new vehicles for the HADF or a full mock series? Yeah, so kind of what's going to happen next is a mock series focused around the HAEF. So they're going to be, that's why I've been teasing and setting them up because they're the next big thing that's going to be happening. So the next mock is going to be the next big mock is going to be built for them. Technically, it's not theirs, but like they will be battling around there. Good idea. Yes. All right. That's good enough for me. Let me go grab one. Let me see if I can get one without knocking over a ton of stuff. So we've actually got two options here because this drone is actually really big. I don't know if it'll fit. See you later, Rachel. Thanks for joining. Um, so this drone is pretty big. I think I could fit it in there. Like that, maybe if I broke it. But what about, hear me out, guys. What about if I used this? So this is one of those booster drones that's used to transport heavy class mechs. So these like lock onto the sides and they like help it fly around. And this could have like, you know, like either been shot off or flown off after the mech ejected. And then just like smashed in. Let's see. Smashed in like this. I think this might work a little bit better, guys, because it's smaller. So it makes more sense because I feel like a drone this big would have just like smashed the pod. What do you guys think of that? See? Yeah, it looks like it just flew right in there, just smashed through the roof and the railing, and then lodged itself in there almost like a bomb ready to explode. Yo, I like it. My entire Leopard 2A7 turret almost broke. Ooh. RIP. I guess not RIP because it survived. Yes, what do you guys think? I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's fire. Oh, it's so cool. I love it. I love it when stuff works out like that. I just need to cover up the here we go. What's up? Is that Bosienstein Shake? Welcome. Put that right there. Boom. Oh yeah, I like it. Maybe put another piece like that. Of course. Got a little too ambitious there. I just need one piece to just balance. Balance right there. Like that. There. There we go. That looks great. Thank you. This is my Lego goat. What's up? No, he ain't. No, he ain't. Nice. Welcome. Oh, yes. I think we did it, ladies and gentlemen. We got ourselves a nice little build. There we go. Try to just cover up any little gaps as best I can, you know. Obviously there will be some, but I think for the most part that's covered up enough. That's gonna look so cool when it's all finished. Yeah, I agree, Stormtrooper. The booster works so much better than the drone. I think the drone was just too big. It would have dominated the scene, whereas this is small enough that it can like lodge itself inside the pod without knocking the pod off. You said there were two, so you could put yeah, the second one could be who knows where, like flew off somewhere else. Definitely. All right. How long have we been going for? Hey, what's up, Mayo? How you doing? What you up to today? Wow, we've been going for like an hour and 15 minutes. I'm trying to make a big gray and black sniper mech. Could you give me any tips? I don't know, man. I'm not. I'm still trying to figure out mechs myself. Something that helps me is just like there's so many mechs out there, and so one thing I try to do is look at other mechs to understand like what is the anatomy of a mech, like because it's obviously somewhat humanoid, but it's also extra humanoid. Like there's extra joints. So I would try and include extra joints in the legs and the arms, give it a little bit more of a crouched vibe, something a little bit more aggressive and animalistic, I guess. Someone really had their apartment. Someone is really going to be fighting having to pay rent this month. This person's going to be like, yo, there's a freaking booster on my patio. I ain't paying rent. You kidding me? If they're even there still. I feel like if a giant high powered booster lodged itself in my back patio, I'd probably move at that point. I'd be like, you know what? I'm good. How much does it cost to build a big mock like this? Well, it depends on your situation because I have most of these pieces already. So that really cuts down on the price. That being said, it's still expensive. I don't know, to be honest. Very like if you count everything that I've spent over the years, thousands probably, but I've also used those pieces for other mocks, so I've gotten multiple uses out of them. So kind of hard to say. I stopped keeping track of my mock prices after Coruscant. Coruscant was like the last big one that I tracked. Spent like, does anybody remember? Was anybody even here when I made that video? It was so long ago. I don't remember how much it was. 5 grand maybe in Coruscant. Biggest mock I've ever built though to this day. Do you have a clear idea of the parts you need when building a tank, or do you just have a variety in front of you? Ooh, this is a good question. So this one, I have a clear idea of what kinds of parts to use, but not necessarily what order they will go in. So I pull out all the bins. I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to need. So I just pull out those parts, but I don't have a clear idea of like how they're exactly going to fit together, especially when it comes to slopes, right? I use so many slopes when building tanks, cheese slopes, 1x2s, 1x5s, 2x5s, all those. And so I pull out so many I pull out as many of those as I can, and then from there I just noodle around until I find something that looks good. But I do have a general idea of like what parts, especially now that I've built 3 tanks, I have a good idea of like what I'm gonna need. So yeah, that's typically what I do is pull out a bunch of bins of things I think I'll need. So I gotta pay protection money for my apartment that has a bomb in it. Yeah, for real, exactly. The guy's gonna be like, so that's gonna come out of your. The landlord's gonna be like, I'm sorry, but that's gonna have to come out of your security deposit. Insurance has declared this an act of God, therefore no coverage. Bro, even the insurance companies in Millennia Prime suck. You just can't escape it no matter what universe you're in. Insurance is just universally a scam. That's funny. Gotta love it. I'm doing grad school assignments and just chilling. Very nice. Grad school. It's exciting. All right, should I put this level on the apartment and then call it a day? All right. Let me scoot that back a little bit. Scoot this forward. I gotta be real careful here because this thing is connected, but only just barely connected. So this one is going to be the second story. Ooh. Where's the front door at? Right there. Oh, perfect. Let's have it go right there. Oops, one more. Go back. Yeah, okay. All right, so look at that. That looks so good. Oh, I'm so happy with this. This is definitely going to be one of my favorite parts of the apartment buildings. Look at that. That's so cool. We got another destroyed one here. Third destroyed one here. Probably what I'm going to end up doing is before I make the finale, I'm actually going to take some of these destroyed ones and move them to other levels because it doesn't really make sense to have an apartment building with 4 levels and then there's one entire level that's destroyed and then the other 3 levels are completely fine. So this is kind of showcasing them all together, but these will be moved to I'll probably spread them across the other apartment complex as well, so that one has some destruction. There we go. There you have it, guys. Oh, yes. I honestly wish I could keep one of these apartment buildings built permanently. I really like how they look. I'd like to use them in future cities as well. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining. This was a fun stream. I appreciate you all. Got some good questions, some great donos. Shout out Vader's Basement and Boulder Mountain Bricks. Thank you guys. You're so kind. They just hated that level specifically. Yes, that's what it is, McMain. They were just blasting this music that was so bad. The HADF were like, "Hey, you see that pink pod over there on that apartment building? Why don't we accidentally shoot a tank shell a tank round too close? Accidentally clip it." Anyways, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys for your great comments, your great suggestions. And I just want to say, before I end real quick, I just want to thank you guys for how respectful and kind and just mature you guys are in these streams. It's really honestly such a treat for me. Like streaming when people are spamming, being disrespectful, being rude is just not fun. It's pretty miserable. And it's really not fun for the people watching either. So just the way you guys are just so great at like coming together, having a good time, having fun, making jokes without doing all the dumb stuff too. So I want to thank you guys for that. I appreciate it. You guys are I don't know, just give yourselves a pat on the back for doing that. I mean, especially in this day and age, it seems like basic online etiquette is just extinct. So what you guys do here is something to be proud of and just A plus. So thank you guys. I will catch you all later. And to anybody watching this back, you guys are great. Hope you have a good day. Hope you have a good Easter. And until next time, happy building.